Hi, and welcome to Be Your Own Best Coach Conversations, where you can learn to shift your mindset, change your behavior, and do more stuff you care about. I'm Glen Lubbert, one of the co-founders of Be Your Own Best Coach, a 5-week group coaching program. I'm here with my colleague and fellow co-founder, Deborah Teplow. Hi, Deborah.
Hi, Glen.
So today I want to talk about feeling versus noticing. One of these doesn't give us control, and the other gives us agency. Can you talk more about the distinction between feeling and noticing?
Oh, wow. Well, if there's any topic that I love to talk about, it's this. And partly because the difference between feeling and noticing is so profound, it makes such a huge difference. And we're so mired in this idea of feelings as paramount of how we experience the world and what we need to focus on when we're thinking about creating the life that we really want for ourselves. And so let me just say a little bit about feeling, kind of neuroscience, nursery school neuroscience. We have a three-part brain. A brainstem is controls, it's rest and digest. It's our autonomic nervous system. All animals have a brainstem, rest, digest. And then there's our more evolved brain, the midbrain, and that's the amygdala is there, and that midbrain is the place where emotions happen and are managed, and we really don't have control over emotions and over feelings. Again, that midbrain is an ancient part of our brain. It's where we sense, is there danger? Am I safe? Am I loved? And so when we're talking or thinking about our lives, we're in conversation with other people, it seems like the default question everybody asks each other, asks themselves is, well, how
How
do
are
I
you
feel
feeling?
about how are you feeling? Exactly.
Yeah.
Or how do you feel about that? Or even worse, this is the cringe kind of fingernails on the chalkboard. How does that make you feel? I mean, raise your hand if you've ever heard that or ever said it yourself or
Right.
ever asked it,
I
right?
have for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. How does it make you feel? Or or how do you feel about that? The problem is that when we focus on our experience and in a way work with our experience based only on our feelings, we're working with stuff we can't control. Those aspects, what we can control in terms of emotions and feelings is how we react. So when we feel angry, when we feel sad, we can decide with our most modern brain. Remember, I said the brain's three parts. So there's the most ancient part is the autonomic nervous system, rest and digest. The midbrain is sensing, am I safe? Fight, flight, freeze, and am I loved? That's the seat of emotion. Then we have the prefrontal cortex, and that is our modern thinking brain that helps us think symbolically. It helps us, it enables us to think about thinking, and it enables us to think about how we want to respond when we are feeling something. So let's go back to the difference between feeling and noticing. So when we're engaged in our lives and we only ask, well, how are we feeling about that? How does that make us feel? There's no agency. And how does that make us feel? Basically, you're a sitting duck for whatever comes at you, and you have
Right.
feelings triggered, right? The how do you feel also restricts, in a way, your expression of your experience of your life because it only says feeling. So when we
And it could change from moment to moment.
Oh, yeah, right. Thank you. Oh, absolutely. In fact, one of the treatments for trauma, for anxiety, is called ride the waves. And there are some experts that say that emotion lasts from 60 to 90 seconds. So
Uh-huh.
if you're feeling this wave of intense emotion,
Just
if
take a
you can
breath.
right out the way for 60 to 90 seconds by distracting yourself, by deep breathing, by singing a song, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Ride that wave out. You will have an opportunity to regroup, use your modern thinking brain, and respond in a way that might be healthier and more productive for you. So yeah,
60 to 90 seconds. That's incredible. That's a really short time frame for the next feeling to come up.
yeah, yeah. And just think about the kind of damage we've done by acting on that 60 to 90-second feeling.
So when you ask how you're feeling, you're like, in this 90 seconds, this is how I'm feeling. Ask me. By the time I answer you, I'll have felt something different.
Exactly. Exactly. And we're complex people. And so part of us could be feeling one way, another part feeling another way. How do you answer that? And we could just kind of go with our negativity bias. So it might be I'm feeling lousy when actually it not all lousy. So just you know what I say, just don't even go there with how are you feeling, and especially not how does that make you feel, because if you are feeling crummy, it just amplifies that crummy feeling. It's like going down the rabbit hole. On the other hand, if you ask the question, what are you noticing? What do you notice? And especially if it's more solution focused or focused on what's working, not what's not working. So, what do you notice that tells you the day's turning out okay? Or that what did you notice? How did you notice? What told you that even though you had some challenges today, you actually made it come out pretty good? So that's an example of the difference between noticing, and we notice in all different ways. We can notice on any one of our five senses,
Oh, true, right.
right?
Yeah. So what the common question you said at the beginning earlier was, how are you feeling? That's an often a greeting. How are you doing? It's kind of the proxy for feeling there. So what would you suggest? As a that's kind of how are you doing? Um, Question is a pretty common introductory question. How would you reframe that or re-ask that differently? That would
Yeah, that's a good question because this idea of, how are you feeling from what are you noticing? In casual conversation, I'm thinking about how you could do that. I think it's probably a little safer to go with, you know, how's it going? Um, and depending on what someone says, is always go with empathy, or no matter what someone says, but particularly if it's if they're saying this terrible thing happened to me or this lousy thing, instead of saying, oh, how does that make you feel? A really interesting question might be is, what do you notice that that tells you did a good job, or what do you notice that tells you you were able to manage it as well as you could?
managing it as well as you could. I really like that
Yeah. hmm and
because
then
that really goes to
oh,
their strengths.
yeah, say more about that, Glenn. What do you notice about that question?
Yeah, because I think it feels like it goes to their strengths. What are they able to do in that in face of that challenge?
Right, right, right. Or, somebody's had a really rough week. Wow. Well, what did you notice about the week that, you know, even gave you hope that you were going to get through it?
Hmm.
So it's not that we want to ignore how people feel, but
Right,
we want to, invite people into conversations that have the opportunity to amplify um, the positive stuff that's going on. And I'm not talking about positive. It's Pollyanna. Oh, let's dance for the tulips. But as long as you've gotten out of bed, gotten dressed, and doing something, something's working for you, even in the
right,
worst times. You're alive. So how are you coping? And if people are having a hard time, they're coping, they're managing, even to the smallest extent. Or things are lousy, what you notice that helped you, or what did you notice that helped you even from keeping things getting even worse. So there's always a way to avoid that. Oh, how are you feeling? How does it make you feel? To really tapping into a deep source of people's strengths and skills.
Well, that's fantastic and a great place for us to wrap up. Thank you, Deborah, and thank you everyone for listening. I want to let everyone know to check out beyourownbestcoach.com, where you can find out more information about our 5-week group coaching program. And listeners of Be Your Own Best Coach Conversations can take 10% off our enrollment costs using the keyword conversations. Thanks again for listening, and stay well.